Thank you, Judge.
Thank you, Judge. But things are changing. But just to pick up on what he just said, and we were talking about this earlier, just a few months ago, I was talking to a church about working on some work, and the church said to me that they could not work with me because I associate with RuPaul. Thank you. I wanted to say, surely you're not serious. First of all, I had no idea RuPaul had so much power.
He'll be very pleased.
Okay. So there's still a little bit of that. No, there's still a whole lot of homophobia going on. But I thought to myself, wow, have you even met RuPaul? Because he's a pretty good brother. He's someone that should be met. A lot of that going on, though. Yes, I'm sorry.
Hi, I'm Len Harvey, and I remember 1981 quite well as a second-year resident in internal medicine, up the street at Kaiser Sunset, getting our first patient with CMV retinitis and Kaposi's sarcoma, and then being launched 6 months later to educate our attending staff on gay-related immunodeficiency disease, the GRID syndrome, and wondering, oh my God, how do we catch it? It's scary. And then taking care of many of the physicians who came to me as their sole AIDS provider, being an internal medicine physician, and before there was even a test, advising them not to even get their T-cells taken because we wouldn't know what to do. Your voice has been so strong in the community. I remember, I think it's more than 20 years, going to events like the Wet and Wild Party for AIDS Project LA. I want to applaud you for your commitment and for your voice, because I actually saw some of my patients' parents fly cross country, clean out their boys' apartments, and they had nowhere to go. Because nursing homes, skilled nursing facilities, long-term acute care would not take these boys. Right. They would not take these patients with AIDS, even though they were stable enough and they had no place to go. And once we got room at our skilled nursing facility out in Inglewood, and I started sending patients with AIDS, I had nursing supervisors resign.
That's right.
I had clinical staff leaving and quitting, only because there was an issue of housing these delicately sick people. And I think the history that you provided needs to be repeated, because we can see with Vietnam, with Iraq, with Afghanistan, we've got short attention spans.
That's right.
And I applaud you. I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. I'm now a medical director for Aetna. We do the right thing. I'll be talking at 11 o'clock. So thank you so much. I really, really appreciate what you've done for all of us in this community.
Thank you. Let's go back over here. Please give us your name and your question.
I'm Luzerne McAllister.
Luzerne?
Luzerne.
Luzerne.
Like Laverne with a Z.
All right, there you go.
Big fan of yours.
Thank you.
And my question is somewhat related to a question that was previously asked, but again in a different sort of microcosm of the Black community. You're Greek, you're a Delta, I'm a Sigma. Yes. Love you.
All right, Soror.
I have no idea what's going on. I'm just saying. Please.
Within our community, being the MPHC Black Greek fraternities sororities, there's still a lot of homophobia. But at the same time, a lot of our organizations are trying to sort of lead the charge in HIV/AIDS, specifically around the fact that
especially you all.
It's become sort of the new Black disease. And I know that we talk a lot about Black females as being sort of the #1 at risk. How can you, or how do you, as someone who I consider, and many consider you a leader in our Black Greek community, address HIV/AIDS in our community? How do we do that and still make sure that homophobia is a part of that conversation? Because I think it needs to be, and it has to be. So how do you do that?
You know what? About 5 years ago, I wrote a one-woman show called Sometimes I Cry. And Sometimes I Cry is, we're a distant cousin to the Vagina Monologues. And Sometimes I Cry is all about real women's real stories around HIV and AIDS. And it has been the most amazing journey for me to be able to stand up on stages, churches, Greek organizations, you name it, corporations, who invite me to simply come and tell these stories. And I've got to tell you, the most amazing thing about it is when I walk into the room, people believe they feel one way about the subject. And when I leave, because we do question and answer after it all the time, I always hear people say, I thought I knew how I felt. I didn't.
Yeah.
So I continue to use my voice, my artistic voice, to raise my voice in all the way possible. So you can go to sometimesicry.org and find out about the show. And invite me. Have your chapter put it together. Invite me, because we do what we do, and we do the damn thing.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Well, and I think you hit upon something really important, because part of this whole idea is about telling our stories.
Exactly.
That is how you change minds. It's
Right.
what Out and Equal is all about every day, is being able to be strong enough and courageous enough to stand up and tell our stories. And that is how change happens, without question.
Absolutely.
So next up here.
Hi, I'm William Weir.
Hi, William.
You were terrific. Your energy is amazing, and thank you so much for the uplifting. I wanted to raise something that's kind of maybe a controversial question.
I love controversy.
You know, I respect and appreciate the value people get from faith-basis lifestyles. But for me, I don't believe in gods and heavens and hells. And
Yes.
for me, I hear a lot of polite, sort of almost patronizing undertones in the stuff I get from even allies who talk about embracing or believing in things like Leviticus. To me, it's Westboro Baptist Church. It's the people in Kansas or in Nevada who are driving the Uganda movements to put some of us in prison for life and some to death. So I don't know how we bridge that gap to this disconnect with this faith community that politely nods in a patronizing way. No offense to you, I'm just saying.
No, I'm not taking offense. No, I'm not taking offense at all.
And
because
love the sinner, hate the sin is about the most offensive thing I've ever had said
come
to
on
me,
now.
And I've heard it said repeatedly. So I want to find that bridge so that we can live together in that space too.
And we have to build that bridge, because we were talking about this earlier. In case anybody has forgotten, church was created for sinners.
I'm just saying.
I'm just saying. Church was created for sinners. If you think back, because you know, a lot of people carry the Bible, they don't open it. You got to open it, people. You got to read it if you're really about your Christianity and your Bible or whatever else. But right now we're talking about church. So, what if Christ were to have said, you know what? You can't be one of my followers because you curse too much. Who cursed? Who was one of the followers that cursed? See, folks don't even know. Peter was a cusser. He will cuss you out in a moment. Suppose Christ said, you know what? You can't hang with me because you got a bad background, girl. And we don't hang with those kind of women. Who would not have found his body in the tomb? Thank you. You know Mary. Suppose Jesus were to say, guess what? You can't be one of my followers because we don't like tax collectors. Because back in the day, well, I guess today too,
Yeah, I was gonna
tax
say.
collectors,
Got a few of them out here, I'm telling you.
tax collectors were not the people you hung with. We have got to open it up and start thinking about these things, people. You can't say, you know what, we don't like those people. They're not good enough to praise with us. If you're supposed to be a Christian, you got to remember, did he not say, let he or she who is without sin, you throw the first stone?